So I reached out to you, schedules and stuff like that. And actually the timing's perfect because in between us touching base and you coming on, the Celtics decided to schedule 4 workouts for draft prospects.
Which is great because I didn't even know until you told me. I was like, okay,
really?
great. Yeah. I knew the guys, but I didn't know they had the workout.
If anyone does not know your work, Pennie is very much a draft guy. It's what him and Sam focus on most in Game Theory Pod. For my money, you two are the best draft follows on Twitter by far.
Thank you, man.
Because you're normal human beings that are funny.
We try to be normal. The funny thing comes and goes, but we just try to be dudes.
Yeah, exactly. So I love your guys' coverage. You're basically the only 2 draft guys I follow, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But I don't really dig in until the season's over because, it's not my thing. So C's brought in 4 guys. All we've got is, I think it's the 53rd pick, which obviously is not a high-value pick, but you can find dudes down there.
Always.
And there's a lot of undrafted guys in the league. Like Wes Matthews is playing his balls off and doing a pretty good job on both ends. He was undrafted. So you can't just throw away these late picks. And the Celtics brought in some guys. I think all these guys have a type, just like all their two-way guys did. Right. And they're like bigger wing types. So I'm just going to get your thoughts. This is where I'm going to lean on you, Pennie, and give the Celtics Reddit listeners a little breakdown on who these guys are, what we should be looking for these guys. And the first person they brought in is actually an old WVU alumni, well, half alumni. He transferred, the bastard. He did get redshirted after a decent freshman season, so it's a little weird.
Yeah, I know where we're going with this one.
Yeah, Teddy Allen, a.k.a. Teddy Buckets, New Mexico State. What's the breakdown on Teddy?
Well, he's a West Virginia alum. He's also an alum of 4 other schools. He's been to 5 schools in 5 years. Teddy is an electric watch. He is. And he was awesome for New Mexico State with almost 20 points per game during the season. They won an NCAA tournament game. He's also in the transfer portal, which is like a new wave of thing. Guys declare and say, hey, but if not, I'm not coming back to school. I'm going somewhere else. Great. Very, very tough to follow. He wants to be the man. He wants the ball in his hands, and he can really fill it up, but you have to live and die with that wild shot selection. So he needs more stability as a second-round guy that I'd feel comfortable taking because he's going to be a role player at best, and the way that he's such a high-volume shooter and the way he wants the ball in his hands is high usage, that doesn't always necessarily translate. He's going to have to answer some questions about the many transfers that he's had, and I guess another one coming up here. But an interesting name, and somebody that could be a microwave scorer in the right situation.
Yeah, he's got talent.
Absolutely,
and
undeniable stuff.
Like, he just does not want to buy in. At least that was my, meatball breakdown of Teddy when I watched him at WVU. But when he's hot, man, it's fun to watch.
Well, that's why the New Mexico State thing works. You go down a level, and you're able to perform. Like, I don't know necessarily. Well, I do know. Bob Huggins isn't going to let you do that. Like, you're going to buy in, you're going to play defense, and you leave. That's Oscar Tshiebwe. It was National Player of the Year. It didn't work there. He said, hit the road. It's his way, and I admire that you're going to play this system, this style. Those guys don't work. They go on to the next guy, and that just gives me some hesitation for Teddy Allen. How's that work in the NBA? Because it's more like that. You're going to go into a place that has 3 to 4 stars. At best, you're going to be 10th man. So you have to learn to live within what your expected role is.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Teddy has shown me nothing to indicate he's willing to play a role. So I would say we probably won't be seeing Teddy Bucket's
probably
name.
Not. But if he averaged 25 points per game overseas, I'm not going to bat an eye either. That makes sense.
Oh, no. He feels like a Euro League star.
EuroLeague / Summer League. He could also put up 20 games in Summer League in the right place. And people see, should have been a pro. You guys blew it. Did we?
The Josh Selby when he was Summer League MVP.
Josh Selby. He was so good in high school. That's another podcast too.
Yeah. Anyway, so next guy they brought in is a kind of goofy name dude from the Bryant Bulldogs, Peter Kiss.
Yeah, you're going with all the villains right now. He has gusto. He does, and that's the top of the scouting report on him. He filled it up during the year too. He averaged 25.2 points per game. He had 30 points in 8 of his last 10 games or something like that. Oof. But another volume guy. He's at Bryant. He's transferred. He's coming up on his 6th year of college, which I admire. I don't know if he's got a master's degree, but it's like a combo pack of injury. He redshirted. Everyone got the COVID year wiped off, so he's still able to play. But he's a sub 30% shooter from 3, and for Bryant, they let him kind of do what he needed to, and that's how he got to not the playing game, but the first 4 of the NCAA tournament. They lost. Summer League guy, maybe see if it sticks, but I don't anticipate him getting drafted.
Yeah, I know nothing about him, but he's a 6'5" shooting guard, sub 30 from 3.
Yeah.
No thanks, not interested. All right, a name that I have not heard before at all is Lucas Williamson from Loyola, Chicago. What's Lucas's deal here?
Has some fans, especially in the analytics community too. Another 5-year of college guy, 6'4" guard. He shoots around 40% from 3, so that's a good thing. Has some handle and creation, so he can like make his own shots. Not like he needs a ton of down screens and pin downs to get a look. He can go off the dribble, can step back. He was not great in the NCAA tournament. You don't want to judge a guy just on a game or two, but he had 4 points on 1 of 10 from the field, and he went cold from 3 overall during March. So if that's going to be your calling card, that's going to be figured out a little bit. Also an older guy outside of my top 60, so would have to earn his way in through a training camp.
Yeah, that doesn't sound super appealing to me. This last name, though, I just remember you and Sam talking about this guy at the beginning of the year quite a bit, and I actually sought out a couple of his games, and he's got some athletic ability, he's got some scoring talent, and that's Julian. When you hear me say this name, if you don't know who this guy is, you will never spell this correctly, but it's Julian Champagne.
Correct.
For the St. John's Red Storm, and he just seems like he can shoot it a little bit. He's athletic. How off base am I?
No, you're good. And a twin brother. They're from New York. They played Under Armour circuit, so I saw them play extensively from 16U onwards. I've seen the progression development. Almost back-to-back seasons of 20 points per game. When he declared last year and did pre-draft, he had terrible measurements. He was very bad athletically. Just the verticality, the height, the wingspan didn't really like work out for what you'd think the archetype of that type of player is. But I really like his toughness. I do. He has a lot of that like bully ball drives, and he shoots 34% from 3. He makes it more of like an uphill climb, not being the shooter that like all these other guys that we're talking about here. And he takes 15 shots per game. Like St. John's needed to be really good. He did it with the scoring. They were middle of the pack team. I do like his rebounding for the position. He's a tough kid, but those measurables aren't like helping him sway him that favor. I had him in the 40s early in the year. I slid him down. He is in my top 60 just at the tail end of it. So he has a chance. I'm not like totally writing him off. Somebody that I think makes sense of these guys to be a potential pick at 53. Those other ones I'd be surprised. But yeah, maybe. That's a guy I'd happily put on my Summer League roster and see if it works.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we're looking at here, right? Just Summer League guys, and you never know. But when you hit one of these late picks, it is such a boon to your team, man. Like getting some guy in the 53rd pick that you lock into like $1 million a year for 4 years. I mean, look at Max Strus on the Heat. He's making like $1 million.
Max Strus,
starting.
Austin Reeves for the Lakers started then the year he went undrafted. I'm just being such like a draft guy and such a Celtics fan. I want them to draft and keep the guy who they drafted. And they've made like some trades, and it's almost like I had the same reaction of, and being a New England-based, semi-based guy, I'm sure, did you see the Patriots video of, so Mac Jones had a bunch of players over his house. So they filmed it, and when Belichick traded down, like, what are we doing, man? And that's how I feel when the Celtics like take a draft and stash too. I'm like, Beggaran, like, what are we doing? Just take like Alondas Williams from Wake Forest, take David Roddy from Colorado State, take somebody and just like try to develop them. Like, get me Austin Reeves. And this draft, and we'll know more. The draft lottery is May 17th of where the ping pong balls are going to land, and the early pull-out date of whatever's around there. There's a lot of freshmen right now who are unproven that are like on the fence. Do I go back to school? Do I declare for the draft? Am I going to get a promise from someone somewhere like that? If you can take a younger guy, because I don't think that the Celtics, as we see they're playing their best basketball of the year, it's not like, man, we're missing a shooter. Man, we're missing like a big. When they're healthy, that's a good 7-8 man rotation. You'd love to have a little bit more depth, maybe like a scorer off the bench, but they're not yearning for immediacy. So I'd be okay taking a freshman or sophomore and just hoping it develops over time.
Yeah, it looks like they're not targeting that. Unfortunately, all these guys are upperclassmen, some of which have been
all
in
our
school.
age. Like, hey, it's been in school 7 years. Is that right?
What?
A lot of people go to school for 7 years.
This dude graduated high school in 07?
Yeah.
What?
Thought I did too.
But I'm with you, and one thing I'll say is talent drain on great teams. We saw it, right? That at one point we had Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Al Horford, all these young guys, Mook Morris, Terry Rozier, and then all of a sudden they're gone. So it's so helpful that if you just have prospects in the pipeline and you hit 1 out of every 3, that's basically what Ainge did to get Grant Williams and get Robert Williams. Yeah, he had his misses with Romeo. I refuse to call Aaron Nesmith a miss, but
to be determined.
Yeah. But it's looking that way.
And that's the beauty of the G League too. Like for a while, it was the NBA D League. People thought that was like purgatory. Like I'm making $20,000 a year, right. But it's really been built up. And you mentioned Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is a really good player. And after you got rid of him, it's like maybe that's the guy you keep. He was in Maine for a while, and I remember after the pick talking to people, the Celtics, like, what are we doing? They're like, no, he's really good. They really like him. They don't want to rush him along. And then he steps in and he's scary Terry. He's scoring 20 a game and gets a big payday somewhere else. But the process and the system has worked and has got better to be like a true minor league AAA where the call-ups are real. There's the most call-ups ever this season from the G League to the NBA, and some of that was due to COVID and what have you, and just more flexibility between roster movement. But that's why the second round works, because those guys can go and actually play and get reps and not sit on the end of the bench and watch good games, watch playoff games, but you're not working on your own individual skill sets.